do the recording. So, welcome everyone, those coming in for the first time. This is Power Monday program. We always have it every Monday, discussing different topics, largely leadership and business. And run by Live Your Dream Enterprises Limited, through a company through which we keep and empower people to live their dreams. We are big in personal development, capacity building, and the likes. So today we have Catherine. Catherine is one of us, has been with us for quite a long time in Power Monday. And Catherine will be sharing with us strategies, the customer service strategies, customer experience strategies that will help us to drive in the biggest return on investment. So Catherine is the head of customer experience of the whole Faulu Microfinance. She's always traversing the country here and there. Yes, meeting teams, heads of those teams in various locations. She's got experience with SBM Bank. She was the service experience and quality assurance with SBM Bank Kenya. She's been the head of customer experience and quality assurance with Prime Bank Limited, and she's been the head of customer experience with Kingdom Bank, with head of quality assurance and training with ISON BPO. That one I didn't know. That one I'm reading right now. I didn't know. Yeah. She's been customer service senior skills development specialist with Centric Learning, and customer service executive by Airtel Kenya Networks. That's the time I knew Catherine, when she was with Airtel Kenya. So that's been quite a number of years, yeah. And in direct sales representative by Standard Chartered Bank. She's been all in the banks, bank. She's also passionate about community service. She runs some CSR services in Narok. She's a sports enthusiast and keeps running around, I think, many mornings trying to keep fit. She holds a degree in anthropology from the University of Nairobi. She's got a master's in international studies and trained diplomat, certifications in statistical analysis, quality management systems, and lead auditor and accreditation. She's very passionate about customer experience. We've worked with her different lengths. And you know, in Live Your Dream, we don't bring people on board just to Google information and come and teach. You know, we walk the talk. People who do it, so they share with us the experience. They share with us quality information that can be plugged into our businesses, and we get going. And we are privileged to have her today. Welcome, Catherine, and we are all yours.
Thank you, Paul. That's a good introduction. Okay, I could see you are trying to see what that ISON BPO is. Normally, that's a contact center that we used to work for Airtel Kenya. Then we also did for Nakumat Kenya. So it's a business processing company, but you are dealing with the customers. Nice to be here today. Nice to join in with my colleagues. And if you allow me, I'll do the video off. Then I'll be able now to delve into customer experience. And good morning, everyone. I know we've been meeting here, but we've never seen the face-to-face, but today we'll be able to do it. So just moving on today, what we are looking at is at customer experience and at the center of growing revenue. And I'm sure everybody is trying to think, how would customer experience grow revenue? And you can chat the questions you have, the thoughts that you have in your mind. But you know, when you think about what customer experience is, you've gone out there and you have looked for a customer. So you need to know, how are you supporting this customer? How are you managing them? How have you mapped their process so that they can grow for you revenue? And we'll keep it very easy so that people can be able to understand and they just do a take home here. I'll give an example. If you start a kinyozi, how will you make sure that your kinyozi is growing revenue? So the first few days, few months, you're going to note the people that come into your kinyozi. You will know them by name. You'll know what they are passionate about. If they love football, which team they support. So you start building a mentorship around that space. You start interacting with these customers from a personal level. And that's how you will see you're able to grow the revenue for those customers, because assume you're the one who makes the hair for Peter Paul. So the moment you do it in a nice way, he will tell his friends about it and they will come in. So when you think about customer experience, what is customer experience? For a long time, it used to be just customer care. And you'll find companies would go and look for the pretty girls and put them under customer care, because it was just an area where, are you smiling? How do you look? But now this has grown from customer care, where you just take care of the customer, to customer experience, and it's also moving to customer experience excellence. This is where you are trying to think of that customer in totality. So you have known your customers so well that you even know how do they want their life to be. And you see, this is a question that you'd always ask yourself. Why is it that somebody would walk to a kibanda, buy tea for 50 shillings, and somebody else will go to a high-end hotel and pay 500 shillings for the same tea? So what the customer is paying for is the experience. You are looking at the whole package. How has that service been packed for you? So customer experience goes to understand the customer. You understand the journey of this customer. You even know where your customer comes from. You even know their political inclination, if that is important. You know what is troubling them. So you're coming to support a customer whom you totally understand, so that you know which are those areas that you can talk about, what don't you talk about with this customer. So you have really known your customer in a nice way that you are able to define your strategy with the customer at heart. And I'll take a bit of time here, and I'm sure all of us, whether you're in corporate, in a small business, or maybe doing any work that you are doing today, there is always a strategy. And in this Power Monday conversation, we are talking about leadership. And leaders have strategy. You are the one who is defining the strategy of your company. You need to know where do you want to go to. But at the center of that strategy is the customer. Because remember, why have you even set up a company? Why have you put up a kinyozi? It's because you are thinking of the customer, so that at the end of the day, you can be able to make money. So when you define the strategy, you think of it from a customer point. So you are doing a customer-centric strategy, meaning that the customer is at the heart of everything that you are doing. If you are going to decide now, I want to change the barbers, I want to change how I shave my people at my barber shop, you must have talked to your customer to find out how do they like it done. Then they can tell you, maybe I want a massage after, I want only this is the kind of music I want to listen to. So you have really understood your customer, such that even when you are defining your strategy, you are way ahead of them. You're now giving them the solutions that they need even before they ask for the solutions. What is also important, and we'll be looking at it today, is the customer experience metrics. These ones, there is no hard cut metrics. These are the KPIs. What are you looking at? Because you see, what gets measured gets done. So when you when you are driving your customer experience and you want to grow the numbers, you must define your key performance indicators. How will you know that you have achieved what you are setting yourself to achieve? How will you measure these metrics? And we'll go into it a bit just to understand the common metrics, but you can define as many customer experience metrics as possible depending on the industry that you are. But you have to have that one key that you are able to put it around your financials. Then also technology. You're going to agree that technology is very key when you're driving customer experience, or maybe you're driving any business. Right now, customers don't want to come to where you are. They want you to move into them. Then you'll be able to see so many companies have gone the techie way. So you are able to push services to the customer at the comfort of your home. Today, if you wanted to withdraw money from any of your bank, you don't even need to go to the banking hall. The mobile banking should be up and you should be able to get your money. If you wanted to make a payment, you can make a payment via M-Pesa. You want to send money to your folks, you can be able to push it through various means. You want to do a training, we are doing it online. So you have to see how do you push your company through technology. And there's a lot of technology out here. So once you understand your customer, you are able to map your metrics and go with the technology that is able to align with what you are looking at. So we just want to see how now does customer experience drive revenue. And we'll have a session where we ask questions so that we see, are these far-fetched ideas? Is it working? Can we bring it home? Has it been proven? So you'll find that there's a study that was done by Harvard, and they found that if a customer enjoys the service that you are giving them, 140% of them are going to spend more in your company, and that's a huge amount. So we are looking at those numbers. How can you be able to tell that 140% of your customers are coming back? You see, at the end of the day, when you have KPIs, you're able to see your repeat customers, how many of these customers were with you before, how many of them have come back. If you have a subscription, you're also able to check how many of them are subscribing again. And these are numbers that you can even bring back home. When you think of when you're thinking of telco, which company comes to mind? So you're thinking of building a brand that have a top of mind awareness that customers will always talk about you. And when you look at how CX is doing right now, this is the new black of business strategy. What this means is the gold. The moment you understand your customers, you understand their emotion, you understand what they are looking for, you are able to define your strategies, you're able to define your metrics around what they want. And that way they are able to give you more business. Because at the end of the day, once you delight the customer, the key take home is, are they spending more with you? Are they buying more from you? The more they buy, the more your business grows. And we are saying that if you push a stellar customer experience, you are going to provide trust to the customer. When you look at what customers are looking for, especially in anything that deals with money, they are looking for trust. So if you're in the financial sector or maybe any other space, they are looking for trust. There is also the issue of word of mouth recommendation. How many of your customers can talk about you? How many of your customers with afford, if they talked about the books they are reading, they would mention your book. Because the moment they mention it, somebody else wants to read it. When they read it, they buy the book and you have the money in your bank. Then also a customer who is happy, they'll drive more customer engagement. And the more you're engaging with the customer, the more they are buying from you. And maybe just going to the example that I was giving of a kinyozi, you have started your own kinyozi and you want to know, are you growing money? So you'll have defined how many customers are you looking at a day? What do you want? And then you'll see, are they bringing in their friends? Have they built confidence in terms of the brand that you are pushing? Have they recommended anybody? And have you been able to grow? So those are the areas that you look at. Then I'm sure you're thinking, how do you define your customer experience metrics? And these are just common ones, but you can be able to choose what you are looking for. The first one is it's an easy score that we are talking about, the Net Promoter Score. And here you just ask a customer one question: would you recommend my brand to your friends and family? The answer is either yes or no. And there's a big correlation between your Net Promoter Score and your financials. If your customers will not recommend you, definitely you're not making money, because normally we have the detractors. Those are the people who are not happy with your service and they'll go and tell other people that your service is pathetic. We have the passives. The passives are just there. They've not decided whether they would recommend you, whether they would not recommend you. And this is a good space where you are now able to take care of the passives and see, why are they not promoters? Promoters are the people who are going to recommend you to family and friends. you'll be able to see they have also brought you business. And it's this score, you are able to get it even from a system base. Like now where I sit and where we work, if a customer walks to the banking hall and they have done a transaction, any transaction immediately after you have done, an SMS shoots and you are requested to give your feedback. How did we serve you? What should we be able to improve on? Well, even when you use the mobile banking platform, when you call the contact center, we have mapped it in all the customer touch points. That one means any space where the customer interacts with the brand, we want to know, are you happy with how we are serving you? What more should we be able to do? And this is a very key metric, especially when you are looking at your financials. Because if a customer does not recommend you, it means they are not giving you business. Then we have the customer satisfaction score, which now is at least bigger. It looks at other parameters, maybe around how the staff behaved, the product knowledge, if they were satisfied with how they were served. So it is a wider scope that looks at various areas. Then we have the customer effort score. How easy is it to do business? And this is a good metrics because you don't want to have customers, but before they even do business with you, it becomes very tough. So those are the common metrics, but there are quite a number depending on the industry that you are in. So how do you define the metrics? You understand your customer. Assume you are going to just our normal example that we gave on the kinyozi. Which are the metrics that would be important? Maybe you can look at the net promoter score and you want to find out, Paul, since the last time that you came for a haircut, would you recommend us to your family and friends? And you're trying to see, they will say either yes or no. The moment they say no, the question will be why. Now you start to understand, why is this customer not recommending me? And you see, when you get the feedback from customer, what is very important is that you close on that feedback. Most organizations make a mistake of asking so many questions. They survey you so many times. I'm sure even you have gone through enough surveys, but nothing seems to change. So you'll now have customers who are fatigued. The moment you even send them the survey, they are not interested. You didn't do anything. Last time I said this thing is not working, but you did not change anything. The next important item is to track your metrics. Once you have defined the metrics that you want, how do you track them? And I'll just give an example. Normally, you can build a metrics around quality assurance. And it's a very important metrics in any industry. This one, you have understood what you are meant to deliver. So you are looking against your set standard. Are you within your set standard? Are you within your standard of operations? So if you're out of it, what do you need to work on? So you can be able to track the metrics and define them. Then it is important also to measure if these are working. You can put them on your balance scorecard. Even in the small business that you are running, make sure you are checking if these things are working. If they are not working, what do you need to do? And that's where the continuous improvement comes. Because you see, service changes by the day. What was trending yesterday is not trending today. There are a lot of innovations happening, a lot of digital things coming up. So you need to be very aware in terms of what is changing in the industry, and also do a lot of continuous improvement, maybe through your processes, your products, your services. It might also be the people that you have, because you might find a customer who says they will not recommend your brand because the last time that they came in, Catherine was rude. So you need to find out, why was Catherine rude to the customer? Was it a bad day, though it's not allowed? What is happening? So you need to listen to your customer and also listen to your staff, because also what is very important is the employee engagement score, because the more your employees engage with your brand, the more they'll be able to sell for you. So those are the common metrics, but you can be able to define more. Then as we come to the end, I just want to put this out there. Customer loyalty is equals to increased business growth. Because you remember, the more your customer is satisfied, it shows that that's a good indicator for your business, because this is a customer who will tell more customers about it. This is a customer who will do a repeat sale. This is a customer who is your walking billboard. You'll find a customer when you ask them, You ask them maybe which company would I go to buy airtime, and there's a company that comes top of mind. When you are thinking of any other brand, maybe you want to buy a phone, there's a company that comes top of mind. When you want to do online, maybe you want to ship something online and you want to find out which company should I use. People will always recommend for you a company they have worked with, or maybe a company they have heard of. So this is where we are saying that customer loyalty will grow for you business. And this one happens when you listen to the customer and you attentively listen to the customer. You know, sometimes we listen, but we do not hear. So make sure you listen, you hear, then you also act on what the customer has said, so that they find that you are a listening brand. You know, sometimes you keep talking and you wonder, is this company even listening to me? So you need to make sure even the customer, when they give you feedback, you have a feedback loop to them that these are the areas that we have worked on. And this one gives them confidence to know that this is a brand that they can partner with. So that's what I had for today. I'll take it back to Paul and we can now have the Q&A session. Back to you, Paul.
Thank you very much, Catherine. Short and sweet, yes? And very applicable, very simple. Yeah, that's one of our values. We keep it simple and practicable. Now, Monica is asking something. Monica.Shilwaso. How do you get leadership to buy in on customer experience, since most vie it as a delegated role of Monica, would you be able to just say what you are asking? You can unmute yourself and just ask. In this forum, everyone usually just speaks.
Thank you. My question is about leadership, because in most organizations, leadership do not drive the customer experience. Theirs is to delegate it to a department in place to run the show. So how do you get the leadership, the management, if you have a board, the board to actually buy in to the idea that CX controls, it maps, in fact, all the other departments together? How do you actually get to do that without actually being seen as if you want to step on or direct on causes of the management business as such?
Okay. Thank you for that question, Monica. And that's a very big question. The only way you get your management to buy into customer experience is when you bring numbers to the table. If you don't mind, if you can tell me the industry, maybe I can be able to help, but I can tell you what normally happens. You need to understand where the company is going to. You need to understand the strategy of the company. You need to understand the financials so that you come and say, customer experience is helping you drive the strategy to this point. So you need to bring the money, you need to bring the numbers to the table. And this is where you now start defining the metrics. Which industry is that? Maybe I can be able to give an example.
Pension/insurance.
Pension insurance. Let me talk about banking. We are almost sisters in this industry. So normally what happens when you go to the sector of finance, you'll be able to see maybe what are we looking at. In the banking sector, we are driving the non-funded income. We are looking at the customers who are using the current and savings account. There are quite many number of parameters that we are looking at. So where does CX sit in? You have to know, if you are running customer experience, how are you going to help the bank bring in a lot of customers, maybe in terms of the service that you have. So when you define your metrics, you'll be able to see how are they correlating. If you are using the mobile banking from where you are seated, maybe you have a team at contact center, you have a team where you sit, you can look at the data and see the customers not using the mobile banking, the dormant customers, reach out to those customers. Then the moment you have reached out to those customers, you'll be able to share data and say, we reached out to 100 customers who are dormant. Today, as we pull the data, we can see 10 of those customers are active. So you start now following up on those customers and you start understanding where the business is going to. If you're looking at the insurance sector, I'm sure there is the issue of maybe claim. Where are your pain points around the claim process? So the moment you're able to understand your customer pain point, you now start defining the metrics. You can say that we had 85% of our customers who are not happy with our services. And the reason they were not happy is because of 1, 2, 3. So you have been able to address the gaps in that process. And right now, as we look at it, we have 50%. So you are showing you have reduced the number from 85 to 50%. So the only way that you get to the management, the only way that you get to the board is speaking the language of the business. So number one, you have to understand the strategy. Number two, you have to know at the end of the day, every business wants revenue. So how are you able to coordinate the activities you are doing in customer experience with the revenue that you are bringing on board? And also what you do, you are able to define different metrics. You can have the soft aspects around customer experience, which everybody drives. That's the look and feel, the telephone, email etiquette, and all that. You can have the hard space around customer experience, and that is around numbers. Personally, I drive numbers because if you can see the numbers, we are having a conversation. So I'm able to define which numbers am I looking at. If you're looking at maybe customers who are dormant in your organization, have you been able to do a program around customer retention? So you can say we had a dormancy of 70%. I've done all these campaigns that the dormancy has come down to 60%. So you just drive it through numbers and also understanding where the business wants to go to. I hope that one gives a few insights.
Thank you, Catherine. It actually does. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Anybody else has an input to that? Somebody else would like to add? I always say that one of the ways, again, maybe adding to what Catherine has just said, people cannot sell what they can't buy. This is a principle in selling. So one of the questions I love to ask is, can you buy this product as it is if you are given? And why wouldn't you buy it? Meaning, in this case, you are dealing with the management. If they can only buy it because they are members of that company, then they are not the best to sell it. It means they don't even understand the product, or they haven't shaped the product well to suit the market. If there is anything that would stop them from buying it or from dealing with that company, if they were outsiders, they say the best place for leaders to sit is at the edge so that you are able to see outside. If you look at outside and you compare with your product or your service, do you think there is somebody doing much better? Would you rather have bought elsewhere? Why? The other thing I love to say is strategy. When people sit, like we've discussed strategy, when people sit down, we are talking about a business strategy in insurance, pension, wherever, in a product business. The question is, how do we intend to grow our business? Business grows, as we are told here, only when customers are there. We increase in our customer loyalty equals to increased business growth. So the question is, what does the management have as a strategy to grow the business? Yes. So they will answer the same question, they will bring the same answers which you want. And that can bring in a conversation, plus the numbers, as Catherine has said, and all these other. The other one is survey. You can ask them to do a survey about their product or services and see why would people buy, why wouldn't people buy? It will always boil down to customers. Somebody else wants to add something?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes,
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Your network is not stable. Okay, I see from your experience, that is Odhiambo is reading.
For making us wake up a bit engaged. Yeah, thanks so much for a very good crystal clear.
Wait, your network is not good. I think I'm not.
No, am I not clear?
Yeah, you are not clear. You're just breaking, dragging. So I don't know why. You may need to adjust first. Good. Yeah.
Sorry, my network is is misbehaving here.
Yeah, go on now.
Yeah, my question is, from your experience, can you share with us why some companies that were started almost at the same time, some have excelled so much while others have almost flopped? A good example is in the telephony. We had Airtel that was crystal clear. Safaricom came and it was not as clear, but Safaricom seems to have got its act right. That's why they have millions of customers, unlike Airtel. Can you just help us understand as far as customer satisfaction is concerned and success in business is concerned? Thank you.
Thank you, Adhiambo, for that question. And I'm smiling because I'm a former employee of Airtel. So I'll not use the example of Airtel and Safaricom. I'll just give a hypothetical scenario of why two companies beginning at the same time, one would excel, the other one would fail. Number one, it's failing to understand your customer. You see, normally what happens, you might sit in your big tower and think that you are okay because your network, everything is fine, but you've not gone down to understand what the customer needs. It all boils down to, do you know who Catherine is? Do you know what Catherine's dreams are? You see, nowadays companies have moved ahead to that space of being very emotionally connected to the customer, that when you get into a supermarket and you want to pay and you notice you don't have money, you fuliza. Nobody asked you to register for that service. Somebody knew the queer behavior of Kenyans. You have to know your customers so well that you have even predetermined what do they want. And this is what sets apart companies, because now you have to invest a lot. You have to go and sit with this customer and understand them. And normally what happens, a customer is a human being. So you start to understand, who are these humans I'm dealing with? What is their inspiration? What are they looking forward to? What are their fears? So you have come to understand these customers so well that you even know that maybe Catherine, you now have the profile of who Catherine is. And this is quite available even on the data. Everywhere that you go, you are leaving your footprints. If you post something on Facebook, if you post something on LinkedIn, if you post something on Instagram. So what companies have done, they have invested a lot in technology and also in customer service, such that I'm able to put your profile even from Facebook. And I know Odhiambo is within this age bracket. He loves to watch this game. On Saturday and Sunday, he goes to this place. So when I'm defining a product for you, I'm defining a product that meets your need. So normally what will happen with companies that fail, basically you have not understood whom you are selling to, or maybe who your customer is. And also it might be an issue of leadership. As the lady had asked before, if the leadership understood where the customer sat, you don't even need a lot of work to convince them. Because you see, customer experience has to be driven even from a board level. And what has happened in industries, they are set regulations. Like when you come to the banking sector, there is regulation from Central Bank. There is also consumer protection policy. So the customer is well protected in the law. So what you need to do is just understand within which industry do you play, which are the laws which are applicable. Then from there, you are able to build the products, you are able to build the processes, and you are able to sell. And also maybe what happens is also the lack of customer retention. Sometimes we go out looking for more and more and more customers. Assume you have started your business and we go back to our Kinyozi guy. So you'll find that this man might have around 10 customers, Are you retaining your 10 customers? Are they very happy? Do you even know when they come to shave, or are you just going out and getting more and more and more customers? And the moment you go out and you acquire more and more, do you have a retention strategy? You might find the person you started with has dropped off. So it is just understanding the customer, walking with them in the journey, and also reviewing the number. And that's what differentiates the companies that make it and also the companies that fail. I hope, Odhiambo, that gives a bit of insight on that question.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Thank
I'm happy also that you clarified that because
Your network is disturbing again. Adjust it
one
again.
of those companies will not going to you will not name drop. You will not drop a name drop. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, your network was not clear, but we got you. Actually, the question of Safaricom and Airtel, I've always given that example. I was there when they all started, and I know where like Airtel missed the ball. Safaricom came in and realized that Kenyans wanted to spend little money. So they came up with per second billing when Airtel was still looking for approvals, I think so, because they are multinational. Some other people sitting somewhere outside Kenya need to make a decision, while decisions in Safaricom are being made faster, and they enroll them. So while Airtel was clearly the best, and that was their slogan, and they were the cheapest, by the way, Airtel, then it was called Cancel. Cancel to Cancel was 15 bob only. And Cancel to Safaricom was around 20 something. But Safaricom to Safaricom was 24 bob. And Safaricom to Cancel was around 40 something, you see. But because it was per second billing, I can talk for 5 seconds, Nanikate, everyone went there. And that is, when we are talking of experience, it is the experience of the customer. How do they experience our products? And that has come out very well. Thank you very much for that question. Yes, anybody else who has a question or a comment, something to add?
I can
Yes,
see
Dr. Eda.
Wellington's hand is up.
Sorry?
Dr. Eda, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you very much, Kathleen, for an excellent presentation. And I've always had this idea that in healthcare we should stop talking about patients and we should start talking about clients. Because the doctors may be patting themselves on the back saying that I've done a very good job today, but as far as I'm concerned, I think that we should always be looking at from the client's point of view. Was it a good experience? Because you may have done the numbers, you may have done the surgeries according to your it's called performance indicators. You saw the number of patients you were supposed to see, you did the number of surgeries. But when you talk to many Kenyans, most Kenyans have a horror story when it comes to health care in this country, more so those ones who don't have the money, and even those ones who have the money. So I remember another point that you said was about the clients by the employees' engagement is extremely important. And I think that should do with internal customer care. I remember that in the 90s, when we were working in Kenyatta Hospital, we used to have days off, and many of us did not sleep, but we used to do what we call locums to make an extra shilling because the government salary was so low. And we went to work in private hospitals like AAR. And there was a big difference between those who were permanently in the hospitals and those who used to work in private hospitals. Because in AAR, they used to teach us, like especially customer care. And if you're a whole integrated person, the customer care that you learned in AAR or in Aga Khan is what you came to use on the client in the public sector. So there was a big difference between those who had the exposure to the private sector. And internal customer care is very important. If you don't take care of your employees, they will not take care of your brand. So as soon as you're not around, they will talk about you badly, and that will be a total disaster. You can't be there to supervise them all the time. So if they've bought into your brand because of the way you treat them and the way you treat them as internal customers, even when you're not there, they will always be polite. They will always take care of the customer because they feel like they are part of a family. I have my own hairdresser where I go to, and I don't go to her salon unless she's personally there. So I always call her first, are you there? Because really, and then one day I just confided in her, your partner or your fellow worker is not as friendly, so I'm not coming here unless you're here personally. So that puts a lot of strain on her to be there personally, because I'll not go there when she's not there. Maybe she needs to work more on helping her internal workers buy into the product. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Doctor. And maybe just to pick it up on it, I've noted, and those are good points. What is happening in Kenya now, there is a shift onto patient experience. I know there's a group where most of us are professionals in customer experience. So that's a very big pain point, where you go to the hospital and you're just treated as a number. So the focus is now changing in terms of where you'll get hospitals are now moving to the patient experience side, but a lot needs to be done. Because you see, even when you look at sickness is also something that is driven by culture and the belief. And sometimes you just need somebody to listen to you, but you might walk into a hospital and the doctor is very fast, gives you the medication. You're not sure if somebody had you. So it's true that's an area that people are looking into, and a lot needs to be done in that space. Paul, I had seen a gentleman's hand up. I think his name is Wellington.
It's Wellington. Wellington, kindly speak. That is my long-term friend and schoolmate, classmate. Wellington, you wanted to speak? Just unmute. Okay.
Dropped.
Yeah. No, he's still there. I can see his name. I hope he'll be able to respond. So yeah, somebody else wants to ask or add something. Beatrice, Dr. Mbaka, you can say something. This is your field also. You always deal with people. Yes, watu wamaliza.
Okay, let me go.
Yes, John.
Just a comment, yeah.
Yes.
I think from experience, I think most of the people we call leaders are lacking in that bit of customer experience. Like the first question, that it is being pushed to the customer care bit, and most of organizations leadership have been lacking behind on that bit. And I think there are two things that drive a company: the marketing side, and then the customer care bit. Because when you talk about companies like Safaricom, I worked for Safaricom. We are the people who put Safaricom out there when Safaricom came in 2000. And as a marketer, we really hit the ground hard, and we really moved around to sell Safaricom. And you see what happened with the clients that we brought on board was that the customer care and the company in general and the leadership took care of the customers very well, and retained the customers, and even grew that portfolio even into a bigger into a bigger portfolio. And then you look at the companies like big companies like the likes of Kodak, the likes of Nokia's, you know, all these companies that you know about. And you spoke about listening. So I would say that the management or the leadership, and maybe it's happening now, but still, even now, I still see some gaps. The leadership is not embracing a customer relationship quite well, because most of them are looking at numbers. How many numbers are you bringing in? But they're forgetting, if I bring in the numbers, we are supposed to retain the same numbers. Like you said, if a Kinyozi guy is doing 10, and then I get hungry, I'm looking for 10 more, and I'm not able to take care of the 10 that I already have, then I'm missing out. I'll be losing the 10 that I already have, bringing in the other 10, and then when I'm looking for the other 10, again, this other lot will be going out. So I think, I don't know, it's something that should be fully embraced. Just, in fact, it should be a full course, just like any other course, marketing or whatever. Just do a customer relation thing. That leadership, it's a course you have to go through, so that you get into leadership, because it's a very, very big part of an organization or a company. Yeah, so I think it's something that should be given a lot of attention for a company to grow. Thanks.
Yeah. Catherine, you want to say something? One of the things, maybe you can also comment on this. One of the biggest troubles I've seen with organizations is sales department will work on their own and customer experience department on their own, as if they are not related. And that is a big trouble, because by the end of the day, they don't think. I had this problem when I was still with my company, Africa Online. Salespeople will go and promise everything that we don't have. You see, they go and promise people to subscribe to our internet. At that time, we do not even have the equipment to go and install. So they get the check signed. They promise them that in the afternoon today, you're going to have internet. We have no idea. When somebody calls that I don't have internet, what is your account name? You're trying to look for it. It's not there. I gave a check in the morning, but today we don't even have those equipment. They are still being imported. We ran out of them. But you see, these people just want to sign a check, to have a check signed, because they also have a commission. I found it very bad and unethical. And that is part of what people are talking about. I loved to speak of people killing their customers even before the customers sit down. As long as they've been paid, end of story. And that's why the moment the company has a clear strategy on how to grow, then they will also find how all these things interlink. In fact, my own idea is that sales and customer experience departments should be working together, so that whatever is promised is delivered. Something I learned from a statement I picked from Trump was deliver the goods. You better deliver the goods. That bullshit can only take you so far, you see. So if you promise something to your customer, you better deliver it. Otherwise, they will not recommend you, they will not be happy, and the experience will be very daunting, will be very bad experience. And that is something that I think that is what John is trying to talk about. So, Catherine, what do you say?
Well, that's quite interesting, and I'm just smiling because you see, you can lie to the customer, but you can't keep on lying. So it's just the consistency that we have. And from the colleague who mentioned before, it's also making sure that you push sales and the people who are supporting you know what you are pushing. It's the department working in as one. But unfortunately, what you'll find in many companies, every department works as a silo. You have your strategy, you have your KPI, you go hit it, you don't care how. Now the customer will come back and customer experience will take care of the customer. So you see what happens if you've not defined the strategy from one point. You might have a place where there are so many complaints and everybody is saying that, what are you doing? What are guys in customer experience doing? But you see, this is a ripple effect. It is just showing where the route is not working. So it's for everybody to work together to know where they are driving the company and where everybody fits into the cog so that the same can move.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hello,
We are almost done. Yes?
Yeah, another thing I learned in customer care is that when customers are happy, one happy customer will tell about 10 people about their customer experience. But one unhappy customer will tell 50 people before they die, minimum, about their bad customer experience. So, and then, yeah, so every person that you see who is complaining represents 9 people who kept quiet. The majority will keep quiet and not tell you about their bad experience, but they will tell 50 people before they die about you. So every complaint that you get, take it very seriously. There's actually a saying that the best person, the best teacher is the unhappy customer, not the one that praises you. Yeah, thanks for letting me share.
Thank you very much.
Paul, I want to say something.
Aloysius, or somebody, yes?
This is Beatrice. I wanted
Yes.
to share something on customer experience. And in
Yes.
customer service, we say that the customer is the lifeblood of the organization. So that if an organization today opened its doors and no customer came in from 1st to 31st, they'll have to close because they will not have the income to pay their rent, to pay their workers, and every cost of running the organization. So that just tells us how important the customer is. And I like the question someone asked at the beginning: where does the board and the leadership come in? And for me, because it is a strategy for the organization, it should start from the top. And when it is driven to the top, coming down, then everybody knows where the organization is going. Then they will know the role into making this customer happy, because at the end of the day, this customer pays all of us. And so I worked for one company, Paul, and the management said even the askari at the door must be taught about customer service, because if you inside there, you might be waiting for the client, but they were treated so badly at the gate and they went away. So from the gate man, they should learn about the customer service experience and how to treat a customer, from the tea girl to the messenger to everybody in the organization. It's only then that we will get it right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mbaka. In fact, I always have a slogan that my customers need to be my ambassadors. Wherever they are, they speak about my product or service or everything else. And that is the strategy that works. If it doesn't come from the top, that you are the one going to market it to the management, it becomes a problem. So it should be part of the strategy for the whole organization. Aloysius?
Yeah, thank you, Paul, Peter, and Kathy, and others. My question is a bit broad. I don't know, the time may not favor us. I was asking about how to deal with violent customers and also how to deal with their emotional intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Catherine, maybe that is the last question you're going to answer. I see we are well into time.
Okay, and I don't know if Weddingstone is still there. I saw his hand up. We can pick his question, then I do this one for Alois, then I'm sure we are.
Well, did you have a comment or a question? You can say something, Wellington.
Okay, so Paul, let me just handle the one for Alois, then we move. So how do you deal with violent customers? Normally, there are different types of customers, because remember, a customer is a human being. So it's me and you. And we are going to have our different mood swings. We are going to be in our spaces at different times. But normally what you do, if a customer is violent and you are serving them physically, you have to first make sure that you are safe. Because you see, the safety of the employee comes first. So that one depends on the confines and the area that you are in. If the customer is becoming verbally maybe abusive, normally what you do, you just listen in and let them vent. Because normally if a customer is venting, they are not venting to you. They are not actually unhappy with you as an individual. It's the product, it's the company. So you let them vent, let them say everything that maybe is making them feel very annoyed. Then the moment they are done with that, try and understand them. We say that you get into their shoes, where you now come and say, I understand and I feel you. So you bring in the aspects of empathy. Are you able to empathize with this customer? I know sometimes customers are very irrational, but you know, at the end of the day, you are here to make sure that you serve them. So after they have vented, just make sure you let them know that you understand and this is how the situation makes them feel. But apart from that, offer a solution. What are they venting about? Because you see, like what one of us has said, a complaining customer is better than a customer who walks away. So this customer who is venting, it means that they like your product, they like the service, but they don't like how you package it. So you just listen in, then you see what solution are you able to give. You might not have the solution at hand, but you can make a promise that you are going to follow up and reach out to them. Then the moment you do that, make sure that you reach out to the customer. You see, the mistake sometimes we make is to overpromise, but we overdeliver. So in a nutshell, it's just depending on how the situation is, you assess it nicely, then from there you just manage the customer. If there is an issue that is not working, see how you can be able to address the same. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope that helped you. One thing I learned, I was dealing with customers like that physically, because they would come into the office and nobody else wants to go meet them. Yeah, everyone is now busy on phone until you go. And then in other instances, we would go for visits because the customer has been calling many times and your phone support does not seem to help. So you go and help. And a few things I learned is include, you don't wish them away. You don't make what they are suffering from look unimportant. Yes, you empathize with them as you've been told. Yes, then there is a statement that you could use. I feel you. I felt the same. In fact, if I were you, I would feel exactly the same. You see, they say feel, felt, found. There are different statements you can always use to calm people down. Above all, it's always good to, they say you respond to all that with a smile. You should smile. If somebody is so violent, smile, they will calm down. Smile is infectious. Yeah, you calm them down, assuring them that you are going to do whatever is within your power to get them the service. And sometimes, by the way, personally, I would go beyond my boundaries. And that would happen, that would cause them to even call me when I was on leave. And even when many years after I'd left the company, people would still call me to go and help them. But I was now limited because I did not have the systems. I would take it upon myself. For example, I would be told, don't reconnect anybody. You are not in accounts, you are in technical. But I realized that it's the accounts people who did not do their work. For example, we had our clients to deposit their checks at different places, like Yaya, like Sarit. So somebody dropped his check maybe 5 days ago. It's not been picked. That is not his problem. Why would he be disconnected? Somebody explains to me this, and I reconnect, and I say, I will take responsibility. If I'm to be accused, let them accuse me that I reconnected a customer. Because that would be night. I don't have anybody else to call. It would be over the weekend. So you need to one, empathize with them, find out their situation. You know, sometimes we have preformed opinion. Huyu customer huanga msumbufu. But how wasumbufu can be very important, can be very good in your business, because they will tell you more what other people are not saying. So it's very good to deal with them and give them their own space. Otherwise, I want to say thank you. Yes.
I can see a few questions on the chat. I can go over them very fast.
Okay. Okay.
So I can see Melvin has put here, which are the top 3 companies that an MSME can contract to conduct customer satisfaction metrics. I would request maybe she can get my number, then I'll be able to guide you. Don't want to be seen like you are pushing any company, but there are quite a number that you can be able to look at. Then there is okay, I think this is a comment she had put. Insurance are the worst, sales team lie promising heaven only to find out all was a lie. They had a bad reputation. Then the conversation goes, it's because somebody says, yes, it's because they don't take time to train need-based insurance, but not all. We still have ethical ones. Maybe if I can put a rider to that, you'll find that in most industries, it's an individual choice. Like what Pod is saying, you can look at the processes and everything, and are you out there to do your best? Because you see, at the end of the day, it's how you show up to your work. It's the personal signature that you give your work. So that's the reputation they have, but you might find a few who have been able to go above that. Then John has asked, where do we draw the line? The customer is always right, or the employer has to be taken care of first? That's a chicken and egg kind of question. I'm not sure. No, I should say this. The customer is not always right, but you have to know that the customer butters your bread. That's the only difference. Imagine a customer who walks into your premises and is shouting and wants something. It comes a time where you also decide you don't want to serve a customer, and it is within your right. Depending on the policy that you have, you might have customers who are very abusive, customers who go on social media and they can paint your company in a very bad light. So you come and decide, you know what, I don't want to do business with you. So customer is always right has been there for a long time, but maybe they needed to say customer always brings the money. So the employee has to be taken care of first. Normally what should happen is that employee engagement should be very high. You should take care of your internal customer first, because remember, your employee is your customer, so that now your customer serves the customer well. But unfortunately, some organizations still have not done that, because you see, if you don't have a happy employee, you can do as much training, as many processes, but your customer experience will still be poor. So make sure you take care of your employee first. And normally what you find is that a lot of customer engagement has to also go with HR, so that you're also doing employee engagement. I like what Liz has commented. We need also to bring this to the homes. This now becomes natural to treat people well. How we treat each other, backbone of humanity. Yeah, that's true. And you know, normally what happens, it's just that deep understanding that we are human beings. You see, what had happened for a long time is where we are talking about work-life balance, but now I know it's normally life. It's life. You do not have Catherine at home, Catherine in the office, Catherine out there. It's just bringing all these aspects together, and we say this is how we are able to support the customer. Jen says that a happy customer is the lifeline of any business. That is true. So those are the questions and the comments on the chat. And I'll take it back to you, Paul. And even before I do that, it's just to thank you for the opportunity and the platform. And also to say we can keep engaging, because the moment we push this conversation at every end, it's going to even change how the country is run. You'll be interested to know that at the end of the day, even how our country is governed, we are the customers to the government. So the government needs to understand what does the citizenship want. Then you are able to run a good government. It's just leadership, and it's what everybody has said. If you are pushing it too hard for your leadership, then they are the wrong people to even be leading the company. So when you look at customer experience, it's just a way of life. How do we treat each other? what are those things that we have put important, even the culture that we have as a country, the culture that we have as an organization. So it's everything that we put together and also how we drive it. So thank you, and back to you, Paul.
Thank you very much, Catherine. A beautiful presentation. As I love to say that if you see any organization struggling, there is a problem with their customer experience. There is no way dodging that. Either you have fewer customers or you are losing too many of them, more than you are picking, more than you are onboarding, and something related to customers. And two organizations can be seated side by side, two businesses, small businesses. One is thriving and soon becoming bigger, another one not doing well. Always related to customers. And that's why we've got to be serious about how we deal with people. There are even non-profit organizations have customers. Everyone, including in the family, as Liz is saying, it should be a culture. How do we treat each other? That at the moment we are able to empathize with other people, we are able to treat each other well, we will be able to translate that into our businesses. The way we are able to communicate and link all these things together. Thank you very much, Catherine, for your generosity, accepting to choose our Power Monday over your other meeting that was running parallel. That is one. Sharing your knowledge and experience with us, that's two. And I know we've been able to touch some lives that will be able to see some positivity. I'm very happy and grateful. And I know I can see from the comments, people are very happy. Catherine, you will need to also share your contact in the chat. Like Catherine is, Liz has asked about it. I'm grateful for everybody who joined in. Just get to know that from today henceforth, we'll be starting at 8:15. And this was feedback that people kept bringing up. And last week we did some small survey and 70, yes?
At 7:15, not 8:15.
Hey, how many people are talking? Yes, Elsie?
Yeah, you said 8:15. It's not 8:15.
No, 7:15. Thank you. Sorry. From 7:15 as opposed to 7:30. So we last week we agreed that we'll be doing it from 7:15, and that gives us 1 hour at least to be able to share more. And today we've seen that it was quite ample. Otherwise, anybody else with the final comment as we close? Final comment to Catherine?
Catherine, awesome. Oh, Catherine, you have nailed it for me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, great, great. Thank you very much, Elsie. Seems people are good to go. Let's keep at it every Monday, 7:15, but we always start at 7 sharp. We are on. You can always log in and say what you are doing in 5 words or less, or thereabout. We chat, yeah, because we also need to be networking and building businesses with each and everyone. Thank you very much. I know there are enough of you who've not spoken today. You will keep joining in. We will be able to share more. Good.